Hi, I'm Professor Beck Strah.
And I'm Professor Eric Bronson. And this is Prison News.
It's the news, put on your new shoes, 'cause it's time to get up off your chair and hear the news without a care. Said it's the news, wash away your blues, 'cause it's the prison news.
Ahoy news!
Ahoy.
What's going on? My friends, my compatriots, comrades, colleagues, friends, fools.
Fools. I love
Brothers.
that. Fools. Let's bring the fools out. Love it.
Oh, we should start that. We should. Hey, what's up, my fools?
Yeah.
I guess like a certain population uses foo quite a bit, and I like foo. I wish I could use
The Foo Fighters?
Yes, the Foo Fighters. That's the population I'm
They
talking
call each
about.
other foos.
Yes. Hello, Dave.
People who play foosball.
David Foo from the Foo Fighters.
Or the people under the stairs who had their tongues cut off.
Ooh.
Right.
Did you ever watch that movie?
Yeah, that's a great.
You didn't watch that
What you're
movie,
talking
huh?
about.
You didn't watch the movie People Under the Stairs?
Oh, it's great.
Brit?
No. I of course watched it in the most recent or second most recent season of On Cinema at the Cinema. They rent that house from People Under the Stairs because they couldn't get a lease on the house from Father of the Bride, and they filmed they filmed
Really?
They filmed the entire season in the house from People Under the Stairs. It's very funny.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, On Cinema at the Cinema, highly recommended. Very, very funny show.
Put it on your watch list, listener.
Yeah. Well, because there's a character named Fool, and the person under the stairs has their tongue cut off, and so they say "foo."
Foo. Yeah. It's been a minute.
I like it as an affectionate greeting, though. It is. I'm affectionately referring to my friends here as fools, and
Yes,
they're
what's
just
up,
gonna
fool?
Take it.
Well, welcome, fools.
Yes.
This is the news.
Welcome. Hey, our aim is to make you less foolish.
Yes.
By listening.
This is an educational podcast.
Now, let me come at you hot with some news straight out of Louisiana. Eric dragged this back here with him like an old curse, like an old mummy's curse from the tomb.
Yes. Constantly.
This article comes to us from Richard Webster and Charles Maldonado at ProPublica in Verite News. It all starts out with in April. We had this mass shooting at the Mall of Louisiana. And Governor Jeff Landry stepped in and started shitting on what he calls hug-a-thug policies. Now, what does that term mean to you, hug-a-thug?
Well, that would be if we were coddling people, which I think is ironic coming out of Louisiana, right?
Oh, yeah. So he's Governor Jeff Landry is referring to some reforms to the prison system put into place before he got into office. And these reforms were enacted by former Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards in 2017. The whole idea was he's trying to save the state money by reducing incarceration and investing in victim services, trying to pull Louisiana out of this dangerous tailspin that made them into the U.S. state that has the highest incarceration rates, as we know from the podcast. But Jeff Landry doesn't like this, and he's demanding harsher penalties for violent minors. He said, quote, "I'm done with them. It doesn't matter how old they are. We've got 18,000 acres at Angola. If it was up to me, I would send them all there for the rest of their lives." Yeah,
Wow.
breathe that in.
Yikes.
Like some stale smoke.
Right. Yeah. Let's put everybody there. It's the solution to all of our problems.
So, him saying this follows a record of Landry being tough on crime since his inauguration in 2024. And he's put a handful of tough on crime bills into place. And I'm going to go over some of these. He has given the public access to juvenile court records that were previously confidential to protect the identities of minors. No more, he says. So you can see who juveniles are. Identity is not protected.
I believe there are some court cases that would contradict him.
I hope so, but they've not rolled those out yet. And Louisiana now has a truth in sentencing law they put into effect requiring prisoners to serve at least 85% of their sentences before they can get released for good behavior. They now treat 17-year-olds as adults in the criminal justice system. The philosophy was, if we remove juveniles from the juvenile justice system at age 17, they won't have an impact on the other youth in the system. And it sends a message to adults who recruit teens to commit crime on their behalf, which is such a convoluted way of just saying I want to be tougher on crime. Okay. He's also made it more difficult for people.
Yeah, it's good. That plays well in politics, right? Being able to say, hey, look how tough I am on crime. Look at how tough I'm being on these criminals. And, it's an easy win for anybody who's a politician.
I remember hearing rhetoric when I was working on my PhD several times, hearing nobody ever lost an election by being tough on crime. And that's the problem is it's all posturing. It's not necessarily good for your state, as I'll get into, but it's sending this, we have no tolerance for crime rhetoric. And it doesn't necessarily lower crime rates. It doesn't help anyone really. It doesn't look out for the welfare of people. It's looking out for what if we lock up the bad man and throw away the key? And that's right. That's not the solution to crime.
Well, and I think that, that goes along with the way we punish people in the United States. We put our prisons in areas with low populations or low socioeconomic status. So, there's not a lot of attention drawn to them. And we put people behind walls, and we don't get to see, the public doesn't get to see what the hell goes on behind those bars. And, that's the way they want it. Because if, you think about it, if the public actually knew, some people might actually care.
Yes, it is instead this psychological torture, since they cannot inflict the physical punishment on people anymore.
That reminds me of the episode we did on the Alabama solution. From last year, the documentary, how it exposed systemic injustices within the prison because guys could get cell phones in there, and record what was happening and record their thoughts. And it's they do try to hide conditions in all prisons from the public, which I think is not a good thing. Not really, not a good thing.
No, but I guess the alternative is in the 1800s, they had prison set up where you could watch people working, and it was like a human zoo where people would pay a quarter and then you get to walk through the prison and see people. Not so much a tour, but tourism around prisons, and maybe that's not good either. So we need some kind of public watchdog or something.
Yeah.
What is the solution? I don't have it off the dome.
Oh,
don't know.
Yeah, and what?
Of course, that also brings. Are we doing the same thing when we take our students down to the wildest show in the South and pay money to watch inmates? In a rodeo.
That was a question a couple students brought up. Was this is obviously exploitation. And a couple of students didn't feel good about it at all. And I agree with them, but it's an interesting lesson, and it's formative, and I don't know. It's I think a great field trip to really open someone's eyes to what's happening because it's the closest you can get publicly really to besides a prison tour, which is very, very curated, and they're only going to take you places they want to show you.
For sure.
And you can only talk to the inmates they've hand selected.
Right. Whereas the prison rodeo, I guess there's probably inmates they don't let in there in the first place, but it's, I think you get you're able to freely talk with a lot more prisoners from a different walks of life than on a regular prison tour. Especially with the vendors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
You get to see much more of them. So let's return to some of Governor Jeff Landry's policies. He's made it more difficult for people to earn good time if they killed a police officer or first responder. He has found more ways to execute people on death row. And he has made it so juveniles convicted of certain crimes are not allowed to have their sentences modified by being of juvenile status. And he's also made it so 60 different crimes are now not eligible for probation or suspended sentences.
60 different crimes?
Yeah, 60 different crimes. And his package of tough on crime laws, it changed sentencing laws. There was a lot of pushback from all these civil rights groups and scholars saying like, no, this is going to blow up the prison population and cost the state a shitload of money. Yeah. And a spokesman for the governor said, less crime means greater economic opportunity for everyone. Eric, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it sounds like we're heading back towards the Code of Hammurabi. We got, hundreds of crimes you can be put to death for.
It's real old school punishment that he's invested in. And he currently wants to add 688 beds to the Louisiana State Penitentiary Angola facility. He wants to hire 150 corrections officers there and spend more money on medical costs for prisoners. And I should also add the caveat. He's eliminated medical parole that would let very sick people out for the end of their lives.
Oh, why? That's just cruel.
Oh, yep. It gets better. He's facing a prison population that's only getting older. So the population of prisoners over 70 has increased 28% since he came into office in 2024, while the overall prison population only increased by 8%. So we have inmates who are just getting older, and with getting older, you have more health problems. So he's ballooning his own budget for this. Right. He's floated a corrections budget of almost $800 million, which is $82 million higher than the previous budget passed. And this $800 million budget just for corrections is expected to pass the Republican-led legislature by June 1st. So we have all these policies. And ProPublica does this deep dive looking into how his policies impacted the criminal justice system. We know there's a higher cost, but we also see that the number of inmates paroled has hit its lowest point in 20 years, in part because he pushed a law giving the power of the parole board over to an algorithm from a risk assessment tool. And the problem is this risk assessment tool, it doesn't take in-prison behavior into account. So however I act while I'm incarcerated doesn't matter in terms of like my risk level for release. So if I'm an inmate trying to rehabilitate myself, doesn't matter for parole. And this algorithm, it's called TIGER. It's an acronym for Targeted Interventions to Greater Enhanced Reentry. It's only inmates who are found to be low risk that qualify for parole.
Wow.
And Governor Landry commented on this, and he's like, no, early release is a slap in the face to crime victims. But the problem is it's not. It's a release valve for the prison system that they need. It's assumed when a judge hands down a sentence that the potential for parole is part of this calculus. And the data shows that Louisiana's recidivism rates were declining before Landry came into office. So like something is working in the right direction.
Well, and it's also, the proper ways to go about reintroducing inmates to society. I mean, you're helping to prepare them to, get back to the real world in some way. And we're not talking about, because they clearly aren't, dealing with the murderers, so we're talking about a lot of these lower level offenders that he's getting upset about here.
Yeah. And it's just people staying in prison for longer is what he wants. It's interesting, this tool that they're using, TIGER, the algorithm, it was developed like 10 years ago by the Louisiana Department of Corrections working with Louisiana State University researchers as a tool for rehabilitation. It was supposed to help the classification staff figure out, okay, you need this kind of class, you need this kind of counseling. Let's target the people who are at greatest risk of reoffending and help them into like job training, therapy, stuff like that. But it's being used now as a punitive tool. And a problem is it's really not that accurate. Apparently, it can predict on a group level that 40 out of 100 people will reoffend on release. But apparently, it can't pinpoint who that 40 people are going to be. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, what is the point of using this?
Right. Yeah. That's just, it's science ending up in the hands of the wrong folks and being used as a weapon rather than as a tool to assist.
Right. A weaponized academia.
What if we used it as a weapon for good?
I think that's what it was designed as. I think that's what like they were told it was going to be, and so like the academics are like at the University of Louisiana or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, I'd love to do that project. Whereas if they told them like, hey, we gotta make a punitive tool to punish people, I think the university would be like, nah,
Right.
probably not, no.
No, it's like those stories where
like they'd have to go to Palantir instead.
Years ago, how inmates were asked to help build the bed for lethal injection, and they were like,
God,
we're not doing that.
Yeah, that's some dig your own grave crap right there. That's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's gross.
Right. Wild.
Well, I have more fun to add. The Louisiana legislature also eliminated parole for almost all inmates imprisoned for crimes committed after August 1st. It is the 17th state to abolish parole in the past 50 years, and it is the first state to abolish parole in the past 24 years.
Why?
And the parole board, people on the parole board are confused they're like, what's the point of even having a parole board if we're not allowing for human judgment, if the whole thing is dictated by this stupid algorithm? Like, why even bother having us on this parole board? It's a kangaroo court is the expression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
And a legislator behind the bill who got the ball rolling here, State Senator Patrick McMath, which is a great name. He's a Republican from Covington. He claimed that so many unrealistic parole petitions were coming through the board that the most deserving prisoners were not getting prioritized. And this new system is making it run more efficiently, but that's not the case. The number of cases heard by the Louisiana Parole Board actually dropped 40% between 2016 and 2023. And they're just trying to kill parole. Like the average number of people up to 2020, up to 2023 was they had 32 people per month paroled, and now it's dropped to 6 people per month since this law went into effect. So they are effectively clogging up the back end of the incarceration experience to not allow people to get out. And over 70 parole hearings were canceled between August and December of 2024 because they're like, oh, these risk scores are too high.
Oh, geez.
Now, for some impacts. Boston's Crime and Justice Institute estimates that by 2034, Landry's rollback of inmates' ability to get parole will double the size of the state's prison population. It will double the number of nonviolent offenders in custody, and the state will be on the hook for a bill of $2 billion for new prisons to accommodate the ballooning population.
Imagine what you could do with $2 billion.
Yeah.
Imagine
the amelioration you could make in that state. Imagine you could probably do free college in that state for $2 billion.
You could make it start to not suck outside of New Orleans. Like everything outside of New Orleans is hell.
Yeah.
Well, that's the fun thing is if you think about the impact that could have on the schools there. My goodness, that would be phenomenal.
Eric, thank you for bringing up the schools. Governor Landry has also proposed cutting $165 million in education funding, including $40 million for state universities and $125 million for K through 12 education, including cutting teacher pay.
Well, you can understand. You got to be able to do that because, the state of Louisiana is just doing fantastic when it comes to education. Right. So let's pay the teachers even less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it bodes poorly for the future of the state. This is like really poor policy. It's not planning ahead for your state. It is planning for like this idea of crime control for your state, but it's not grounded in any kind of research. It's grounded in emotion and I'm going to keep you safe governance, and it doesn't work that way.
Right.
And it's like cutting education too. Like we see like positive correlation between education and like literacy rates and stuff and, a crime-free society. And so
yes,
this is going to only make the problem worse down the line, and they're going to have to warehouse more people because more people are uneducated and they turn to crime because they don't have opportunities.
For sure.
My gosh. This is depressing.
I cite this study all the time, but there's a study out of U Chicago from, I want to say 2020 that tells us, okay, with all this research gone into it, every $1 that we invest in early childhood education, we get back $7 on the back end, because that's money largely from keeping people out of the criminal justice system.
Mm-hmm.
It's less sexy to put money into something where you're not going to see the results for like 18 years, but it is incredibly necessary.
It is sexy to like put money into something and get a lot of money back down the line. Like everyone likes that. Everyone likes, an investment that makes them a lot of money. And this is just an investment. We talk about these politicians who are going to run the government like businessmen and whatever. And every time they run it poorly and bankrupt the state, at expense of social services. It's awful.
Yeah, cutting social services, cutting safety nets for people who actually need it, and who benefits really. Like we know that it doesn't mean there's lower crime.
Mm-hmm.
Locking people up has there's a tipping point where once so many people are locked up, it doesn't actually lower crime very much anymore.
No, it causes more systemic issues because you take fathers away from children, you take breadwinners away from households, and that's going to, down the line, cause a lot more problems. Once again, because it doesn't afford people opportunities.
Any disruption of the family is not good for children and their future. And
like in these politicians who are like tough on crime supposedly, are like also like all the time, every single time, very pro family and pro nuclear family, but they're ripping these families, these nuclear families, apart.
Right.
Yeah, precisely. And it's gross. It's terrible policy. Governor Landry, screw you, dude. we officially unendorse you from the podcast.
Not a friend of the podcast.
Right.
Not a friend. Not invited on.
No.
Yes, but I do want him to explain himself, but not using like tacky shit rhetoric. I want him to actually explain what goes into these policies.
He can't. He can't in a rational, logical way, because this is all illogical, anti-science, anti-statistics, anti-academia. It's
I don't think there's any rationality behind it other than maybe this will get me more votes from a voting base who is rabid for anti-crime measures.
Right. All right. Well, let's travel a little bit north here for little article out of Michigan. This one comes from WXYZ Detroit, which is like the greatest call sign, WXYZ.
Oh, God. I want that. Yes.
I know, right? Yeah.
I don't even have a TV or radio station. I just want that.
So this one comes from Randy Wimbley and Andres Milos. This one says, Michigan lawmakers demand prison director resign after 2 women die at state's only women's prison. So, this one comes from Ypsilanti, Michigan. I love that name.
Yes,
Ypsilanti.
Is it Ypsilanti? Okay.
Ypsilanti.
Ypsilanti. So, Michigan lawmakers from both parties are calling for the resignation of Michigan Department of Corrections Director Heidi Washington following the deaths of 2 inmates at Women's Huron Valley Correctional Facility, the state's only women's prison. Korea Howard, an inmate who had recently alerted lawmakers about mold inside the prison, died just weeks before her scheduled parole. Days later, inmate Rebecca Fackler also died. The exact causes of both deaths remain unknown. So,
suspicious.
Right. State Representative Lori Pushki said the deaths underscore what she described as a failure of leadership at the top of the state's prison system. Saying, quote, Director Washington has said time and time again that there are no issues at Women's Huron Valley, and I don't understand how anybody can say that in good conscience after a woman just died, unquote. Howard's mother, Shaquila DeShields, described her reaction to learning of her daughter's death, saying, quote, "My first words was, 'What the hell did y'all do to my daughter? What did you do to her?'" Unquote. Heather Dennis, who was friends with both women while incarcerated, spoke about the impact of the losses, saying, quote, "My heart just goes out to the families that have lost their loved ones due to this, because they're more than just an inmate with a number. They're human beings, every one of the women there." On Thursday, Representative Pushki sent a letter signed by 34 lawmakers from both parties demanding Washington resign, saying change cannot happen under her leadership. State Representative Donovan McKinney, one of the lawmakers who signed the letter, said the situation was reaching a breaking point, saying, quote, "Enough is enough. So we're all fed up because this is a cycle of issues that have never been addressed. So we have to do what we need to do as legislators and call on the executive we have to get rid of her." McKinney joined a virtual meeting with Washington about the women's prison on Friday. He said the response of the department felt familiar, saying, quote, "They just talked about how, they're doing some things to address what's happening, kind of like the same spiel we've been hearing for years now," unquote. McKinney said lawmakers are now pushing to close the facility entirely, leaving them with no women's prison in the state.
That's an extreme move.
Right, yeah. Right. He said, quote, "We're calling from community legislators. We're calling to shut that facility down and move those women somewhere else," unquote. Activists and concerned citizens protested in front of the prison earlier this week. The controversy follows a House Oversight Committee hearing where whistleblowers described extreme mold, inadequate medical care, drug trafficking, and retaliation against inmates who speak out.
All bad things.
All dubious.
I classify all these as bad. This is my stance.
Yes, not a friend of the pod. I reported in April that 4 homicide investigations had been launched in 5 weeks of prisons throughout the state of March. The Michigan Department of Corrections issued the following statement saying, "The Michigan Department of Corrections has established itself as a national leader in evidence-based corrections under the direction of Director Heidi E. Washington. Over the last decade, the department has safely reduced the prison population, worked to modernize families and operations, increased opportunities that support long-term public safety and self-sufficiency, and achieved the lowest recidivism rates in our state's history." This past September, the department hosted its largest college graduation ceremony to date at Women's Huron Valley Correctional Facility, with 70 women graduating with associate or bachelor's degrees from Jackson College and Eastern Michigan University. Under the director's leadership, a vocational village, which certifies women in skilled trades, was also implemented at the facility and has helped hundreds of women gain the right skills for a good-paying job. The department is committed to its mission of preparing people for success and providing safe and secure facilities. Director Washington has been on site with healthcare leadership at Women's Huron Valley Correctional Facility to provide oversight in day-to-day operations while investigations are underway. Additional experienced clinical leadership from across the state have also been called to the facility to provide assistance during this time. The department continues to prioritize the investigations and will provide information on their findings when they conclude.
You know what this is? This is look at this shiny right hand, so you can't see what my moldy and mysteriously dead left hand is doing.
Right, precisely.
Yeah. But let's promote the successes, so nobody pays attention to the failures. Release the causes of death first off.
Right.
Like maybe they're mold related, maybe they're not. Maybe somebody had an allergy or a heart attack, or who knows. But release causes of death, do autopsies, make this public. If you should be caring about these things, because this is public backlash, and if there's nothing to hide from, don't hide from it. Also, why can't people just take some accountability?
Right.
Just be accountable. who's responsible for these deaths, if anyone?
Right. And like the director, the responsible thing to do would be to come out and say, hey, I take responsibility for this. I'm not resigning because I want to fix this. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Why not do that? And like, I would respect public officials so much more if something like that happened. Like,
right.
The buck stops here, and like this happened on my watch, and I am deeply sorry to the families.
Right.
Like, obviously,
and I'm going to do everything I can to try and make it better, to try and repair the situation so that it doesn't happen again in the future.
Right.
Yes, I'm not naive. This does open them up to lawsuit, but they are already opened up to lawsuit. They're just trying to stonewall the victims' families as long as they can.
And would they rather that, like, the findings come out and their cause of death come out at trial? Or would they rather have control of the conversation and be able to say, hey, yes, we did this, we're taking accountability?
Right, exactly. Like then you actually control the narrative. But
exactly.
They're so stupid that they're it's either inept or the wheels of bureaucracy turn so slowly they don't know why people died. I don't know. And we have no idea what's going on with the mold.
No.
Right.
So that's a bunch of depressing news.
No, don't frame it like that. This is prison news. This is the kind of news we get.
We're getting the word out there.
Depressing news. Now we have the blues.
That was a great live performance. Thank you.
Yes.
But you know what is something positive? Is our sponsor, Roger Williams University School of Justice
That
Studies.
is so positive. I love Roger Williams University School of Justice Studies.
Tell me more.
Do you want to know about their delicious and insightful degree offerings?
Or maybe you could just
me
talk about how wonderful that one criminal justice faculty member is,
me?
Without any hair.
No.
Not me.
Definitely not Beck. Yeah.
Definitely not you. You've got perfect hair. But the other one, you could talk about him a lot. Or you could tell us about the programs.
I could tell you about the programs. So we've got degree and certificate offerings in all types of stuff, such as public administration, legal studies, political science, forensic science, anthropology, sociology, international relations. And of course, we've got criminal justice. These guys right over here. Give it up for the big boys.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
And of course, my favorite, everyone's favorite.
Wow. This is like those Ricola commercials where but like so extended, nobody can understand that Brent is saying leadership.
Leadership.
What is that instrument called? That long Ricola tube?
Oh, it's called the Ricola tube. You got it.
But you have to ask for it properly.
Yeah. I think the Blue Man Group uses one of those.
Thank you, Roger Williams University School of Justice Studies. I finally figured it out. Eric was talking about either Richard Rose or Saeed, two of our wonderful bald colleagues.
No. I said criminal justice directly.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah. Not justice studies, professor. Criminal justice.
Shit. All right. Well, it's still a riddle. We'll get to the bottom of this.
It was still a riddle. It's like you're playing Guess Who and you only have one square and you're like, gosh, I still can't figure it out. Is it a white bald guy with glasses?
Yep.
It's like a cork board where all strings lead back to Eric.
And you're like, you're just staring at us. Gosh, there's got to be something more.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, dear listener. We hope you enjoyed our show. Please give us 5 stars, subscribe. It helps the pod, and show us some love on your review. With that, we are out of here like Richard Gere. Lights out.
Interesting. Lights out. I think it's lights out.
I think I turned the light off. Oh.
We got to turn them all off.